Xander Small, so Zander, and then Small, Small. And man, I do a lot of things, but I'd say the biggest one is I'm a content creator and now the founder of FanLock. So those two things. So for sure. So yeah, I started content creation about 2 years ago. I have 1 million followers on Instagram and about the same amount on TikTok right now. I started out primarily in the anime space, but then I slowly branched out more into pop culture and then general lifestyle content just about myself once I reached like that level. I honestly at this point just make content that I think is funny. Like if I had to go in one category, I'd probably say I'm a comedy content creator, but it's pretty much if I'm sitting up at night and I'm like, you know what, that would have been a funny real idea. I just go ahead and make it and I get my friends in on it or, my family and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, if I had to pick one category, probably comedy, but like I don't really think I'm bound to a specific niche. I just do whatever I think is like funny on any particular day. So. Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest event I've ever done is probably between the gorilla event where, I think about it was about a year ago, people were arguing like who would win, 100 dudes versus a gorilla. So I was like, that'd be funny if we did that in real life. So I basically got 100 people from random spots online together, and we came together in Dallas. We went to a park and we fought a inflatable gorilla mascot, which was crazy. I think that in total had like 50 million organic views, which was crazy. Besides that other stuff, yeah, I mean, if you're from people are from, from San Antonio, they probably know me for renting out the theaters down here. I know a lot of people that didn't know I was from San Antonio. They saw that video and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like he's at City Base." So rent out a couple movie theaters for like the Minecraft movie, which was crazy. Jason Momoa, one of the actors in that movie, actually reposted that video, as well as the director of the movie and the actual like movie pages. Like they loved everyone coming together at City Base, which was super cool. And then besides that, I mean, probably the Miku lookalike contest and like the Gojo lookalike contest up in New York. But yeah, I mean, I think if I had to pick my top three capstones would just have been my like biggest and also the stuff I'm most proud of, probably those free activations. I had a lot of fun doing those. I mean, honestly, I think the biggest one, probably just the amount of connections and people I've been able to meet from it. I was pretty isolated, I'd say, post-COVID. Like I didn't really have much friends besides like my high school buddies, but I mean, just the amount of people I've met over the course of making content, whether that's like my management team or other content creators like Nora Fawn, Lean Beef Patty, and a couple of my people that I've come to call as friends now. It's been something that like obviously I've had a lot of opportunities from it. Like who could say that they wore a Miku costume on like a helicopter to promote a Miku lookalike contest, or say Jason Momoa like reposted their stuff? Like that's crazy, but I think that the biggest benefit from it have just been the opportunity to meet so many amazing and so many talented people in the creator space and really come to call a lot of creators that I used to watch friends now. I think that's been super rewarding personally because I really do value those connections and creators in the whole artist space. So being able to meet these people, learn more about them, talk to them and figure out their creative process has just been it's been something amazing that I honestly can't take for granted. It's been pretty cool. It's been definitely it went from I would say a very small issue where people were like, oh, like this is never going to be a concern for content creators to nowadays we have content creators being like, oh my gosh, like my job actually might be at stake here because there's been certain companies, I don't know the names of them off the top of my head, but like they've been doing like AI ads and stuff like that, which I do not approve of at all. I think that there's something you get from human connection and human I guess like just the human spirit online from either content creators, artists, other creatives that AI cannot replicate. Like it's there that there's that essence of like soul that's not in the content that AI produces. So yeah, it's been getting a lot worse. Especially creators online that have like more loyal fan bases. Like a big issue that I've just been seeing is deep fakes of creators, potentially doing stuff that they don't originally consent to, which is horrible. That's very traumatic for someone's mental health, but also for them as a creator, which they already have so much going on mentally with, making sure that their content's good. Like it's very mentally taxing putting yourself out there on the internet already with, trolls, bullies, algorithm changes, which affects like your mental health with producing content, but then adding on an additional layer of, hey, this image of you is shared online that's extremely explicit is like we can't tell if this is true or not because AI has just become that good. And malicious actors are putting creators in these situations in AI images and videos that they didn't originally consent to, which again, it's only going to keep getting worse as AI progresses. Luckily, there is legislation coming out to prevent that. I think the Take It Down Act just passed, but a lot of creators don't know how to either A, apply that, or B, apply it at the scale that they need, because obviously, since it's so mentally draining, they don't want to spend all day submitting requests to get this content taken down, dealing with providing evidence that it is AI, because they don't want to see that in general, because again, it's very mentally taxing to see yourself AI generated in something that you did not consent to. So as it keeps getting worse, the problem is only going to keep getting worse, which is why I want to bring, I guess, bring up the topic in more light. I think the more exposure the issue has, the more legislation and the more change that we're going to be seeing in it in our, local society as well as globally on the internet. So, I've been a huge advocate for, generative AI being less in the creative space. And, hopefully people share the same sentiment as me that AI generated media, whether that's video, movie, images, it just won't ever be the same as a human doing it. And, I think people would agree with me if, they are on the similar wavelength as myself in that regard. So. Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest one that I've seen in the circles I've been going through is probably adult media, whether that's like people AI generating people without like garments of clothing or anything like that. I think that's probably the most mentally taxing because it's in a position where it isn't them, but it looks like them because it's AI, like AI has gotten that good. So I'd probably say that's probably like the biggest. I haven't really seen any regarding like companies AI generating a specific creator just because of copyright issues, but typically it's from smaller, private groups that are malicious actors that share AI generated media of creators in typically adult settings, which is extremely mentally taxing for people. So I'd probably say that category from what I've seen. Sure. So about a month ago, my girlfriend's also a content creator and she had this issue happen to her. And but the issue is like obviously creators don't want to deal with it because it's again very mentally taxing to see yourself in that light and have to deal with that. So I started a company with another content creator local to the Austin scene named Morgpie called FanLock. And so yeah, I started a company called FanLock with a creator from the Austin scene called Morgpie. Basically, we handle detection, removal, everything for creators, all white gloves. So all they have to do is sign up, fill out a form, and we take it from there. So they don't have to see any of this content. They don't have to be exposed to it. Basically, our automated platform handles everything, so they don't have to do any of it. And it's been, honestly, we've had great results so far. I think we've been up for about a month and a half, and we've already gotten rid of over 250,000 leaks from about 100 creators so far, which has been huge. I think the average creator on our platform sees either 6,000 to 8,000 leaks removed within the first 2 weeks, which has been insane. A lot of platforms that traditionally more focus on DMCA typically skip over deepfakes because deepfakes aren't technically copyrightable because it's not the original content. But since it is non-consensual intimate imagery of these creators, what we can do is we can apply a different set of laws to get that taken down from either social media platforms, leak sites, and really put pressure on these platforms to get this removed, all while creators don't see a lick of it, so they can focus on creating while we handle everything that they don't want to see, which helps their mental health, and also their platform because they didn't produce any of this material. So. For sure. Right now, we've been focusing on the creator space just because that's probably the most prevalent need right now. But I think it's going to reach a point, unfortunately, unless there's a legislator or social change, that we're going to be seeing more of a explicit image threat, from people that aren't content creators, like the general public. It would be awful if, someone gets blackmailed with, hey, if you don't pay us a ransom fee, we're going to spread this image online of you, which isn't you, but it looks just like you. So I really want to have FanLock be a solution for when when AI gets to that point where it's that much of a threat. There's this foundation that's already ready to go where we can roll that out to the general public, to, civilian people that aren't content creators and maybe have a more smaller need to do some sort of identity protection. So as FanLock continues to grow as a startup, I want to provide the solution to as many people as possible because it is going to keep getting worse, unfortunately, as AI progresses. And I think if we have that foundation set up and ready to go, it'll be ready to protect a lot more people than just content creators when the time comes. Honestly, I think it should. I think there's many different facets that AI needs to be regulated on. The biggest argument for AI not being regulated is, well, if we don't do it in America, then maybe foreign adversaries like Russia or China might accelerate AI faster than we do, and they win this AI race. But unfortunately, generative AI isn't applicable for, military safety, medical reasons. It's mainly just for creative media. There's a lot of different orgs already that are providing, solutions for this in union situations or stuff like that. I think like the SAG-AFTRA strikes for media and for video have been great with finding a middle ground for AI usage where actors, voice actors, writers, they still can have genuine human work. As far as for creators go, I mean, 100%. I think as it gets worse, we only need more legislation and protection regarding, AI generated explicit imagery or images where the people in them don't consent to them. I think if, the governments at B can roll out legislation that can either pressure social media platforms like X, Instagram, Facebook to respond quicker to these situations, I think that would be the best. Right now, it typically takes anywhere from 2 days to a week for these images to get taken down once you find it and actually report it. And by then it's already spread everywhere. So I think the quicker that these platforms can identify AI generated imagery and then either quarantine it or have it be so if it is reported, it gets taken down a lot quicker, I think would be amazing. So I think if there's any legislation coming up that is about that certain topic, I really hope that people either call the representative, call their senator, and have them vote yes, that we do want more legislation for generative AI to be regulated, because it's only going to get worse as these models continue to improve. And as we see, like it's been an exponential improvement rate over the past 2 years. And if it only gets worse, I think there needs to be an equal amount of protection from the government side to make sure that all those issues are combated. And if anyone knows any content creators that are dealing with deepfakes or anything like that, either in the San Antonio area or nationally, please check us out if they want to. We are, even send me a DM on my Instagram page. I'm always down to help as many creators as possible deal with this because as a creator myself, I know how mentally taxing it is. And yeah, I think that's all I have. Shout out St. Mary's. I just graduated there, so glad to be working on this in the San Antonio community. But yeah, thank you so much